What is up, YouTube? It's Ubu the Tech Guru coming straight at you. How is everybody doing today? I'm doing fan-tiddly-astic. And what do you say we look at two awesome devices? Boom! Boom! Tough actin' to actin'. Let's compare the iPhone 4S and the iPhone 5S. Alright, so getting right into the testing. Well, first I guess let's take a look at the size differences of the 4S and the 5S. You know, as you can see, the 5S is taller by, I'm not exactly sure, that looks maybe like 3/8 of an inch, which obviously then results in the screen size being taller as well. I don't know, maybe it's closer to a 1/2 inch, I'm not sure. I'm just guessing from my old woodworking days. But, you know, not only is it taller, I believe it's the same width. Yes, Apple decided to keep the same width of the phones. But the thing that they did change is it is slightly narrower, the 5S is. Here's the 4S over here, and the 5S is over here. So they did make it a little narrower. So I believe, you know, if you're looking for cases for the phones, the 4S and the 5, well, obviously they're different since the height difference, but I was thinking thickness difference. So right now they're both on, and what I want to do is test how quickly they each boot up. So I'm just going to shut them both down, totally power down. And you know, we'll see how long it takes to fully boot up from complete power off. So let's go ahead and see how long it takes to boot them up from scratch. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. We'll see which one you know, boots up faster. If you notice, the 4S has the black background and the white Apple. I'm not sure, you know, why that is. This is a white iPhone, but the 5S is the silver model, and it has a white background and a black Apple. I think they changed that with iOS 7. All right, so the 5S is already up, and you can see that the 4S is still working. So you know, that just goes to show. I have to enter in my code after it's a complete shutdown. The finger lock doesn't work. So clearly the 5S, you know, boots faster, and that makes sense because it has the newer A7 CPU, or, you know, processor in it, the SoC, the system on chip, excuse me, and so the few tests that I wanted to run were some general benchmarks that are actually mobile apps. And the first one that we'll try out is it's a performance benchmark. I'm not exactly sure of the full app title. It just, I can see performance right there below the icon. But this runs the whole gamut of tests. You know, CPU, disk read-write, memory read-write, 2D testing, 3D testing. And let's see, you know, obviously which phone. They're both running iOS 7.0.3. I don't know if you guys can see that on the screen. Here, let me zoom in a little bit. And maybe you won't be able to tell even after I zoom in. But I can assure you they both are running 7.0.3. If you can see that right there. And the device, or where is it? The CPU on one of these, where is it? Device model. Device model for the iPhone 5S actually says iPhone 6,1. And iOS 7.0.3, obviously. CPU, oh, right there. The CPU frequency is unavailable on the 5S, if you can see there. And then the memory, this has a gig of memory, the 5S, and the 4S has only 504 megabytes, so that's half a gig. And then storage, they both are the 16 gig model. So let me zoom back out again, and let's run through this benchmark and see what kind of results we get. Alright, so the benchmark for the 5S is done. It says, do you want to submit the benchmark for, submit it to a website? I'm not going to submit it. But let's just go through, some of the, we'll go through some of the numbers here and run through each of the results. So as you can see, like I was saying, the CPU on the 5S here, that's almost 4 times as powerful on the benchmarking that it did. Now the yeah, I mean, look at 50 for the find prime numbers, 53.4 thousand primes per second, whereas this 5S, it had 475. I mean, that's insane. And then the random string sorting, 3,000 for the 5S, only 1,000 for the 4S. The data encryption is about 3 times as fast on the 5S, and the data compression is about 3 times as fast as well. Looking at the disk read-write, you can see actually the storage writing for the 4S over here was actually faster by 10 megabits a second at 40, whereas the 5S was only 30. But then look at the storage read, only 74 for the 4S and 332 for the 5S. And then looking at memory, we have 331 megabits a second for writing. That's for the 4S. The 5S is triple that at 913, approximately triple that. And then for the read, the memory read, we got 314 on the 4S and 864 on the 5S. And then last but not least, the 2D, some 2D numbers. You got 412 for the total 2D kind of benchmark. And for the 5S, you got 2,442. And then 3D, not a huge jump for the 2D, not as big as jump compared to the 2D, but the 3D got 1237 on the 4S and 1957 on the 5S. Now looking at the frame rate, the simple text on the frames per second was pretty identical, but then the complex test, the 23 for the 4S and 57, so double it for the 3D complex test. So that does it for that performance benchmark. Let's go back to the home screen and clear that out of memory. So you just get rid of it like that. And now we'll run 3D Mark, which is for testing the graphics card pretty much. So we'll go through and we'll do what's called the I think it's the Ice Storm test. We're not doing the Ice Storm Extreme because that's for testing 1080p. So we'll just do the Ice Storm test. So now the 5S is on the top and the 4S is on the bottom. All right, so you can see that the 5S up here, it did finish the test before the 4S. The 4S is still running. Hopefully it should finish up here. Hopefully this is the last one for the 4S. It's really struggling right here. It was all the way down to 4 frames per second. It's amazing, these little GPUs in here. They're probably better than the the workstation that I do all my editing on, because my workstation's like 7 years old. I'm still only running a 1.8 gigahertz Core 2 Duo overclocked at 2.4, and then only 2 gig of DDR RAM, or DDR2 RAM at 557 megahertz, or 577 megahertz. I don't know. But my machine's really old, so this iPhone's probably better than better hardware than my computer I use. So looking at the results from the test, the 4S over here, only the score it gave it was 2341, and the score for the 5S, it actually didn't even give me a score number. It says that we maxed out the test. So this hardware over here, it says that we should try running the Ice Storm Extreme test for the 5S, because it was just that, it's that good. Looking at the detailed numbers, you can see the graphics test 1 over here on the 5S was at like 58 frames per second, and the graphics test 1 on the 4S was only at 10 frames per second. So, there's a huge difference in, obviously, the hardware in each of the devices. I mean, we already knew that. I just wanted to run the tests just to show people how much better the 5S is over the 4S. So going back to the home screen, let's test a few. Well, first let's clear the memory. And let's just run some standard type tests. Like one would be Netflix, I guess. Let's see how fast Netflix can be brought up on each of the devices. So we'll test it out. 3, 2, 1. So obviously it came up first on the 5S. You can see that clearly. Now both of the phones are on the same Wi-Fi, access point that's upstairs. It's an Aris model from Time Warner Cable. The Wi-Fi router access point is Aris TG something or other. I don't know, but it's for, believe it or not, for renting it from Time Warner Cable. It's got tons of options for configuring virtual servers, port triggering, MAC address filtering, DHCP reservation, all sorts of great stuff. So I didn't need to add in another router, to do all that kind of stuff. I can just use theirs, and that way the signal doesn't have to go into their router and then, out into my router. So, well, anyway, so they're both on the same Wi-Fi. Now, let's just watch something. We'll watch a movie here, and I've never brought up, these are going to be both fresh, so they're not going to be in the cache, and we will, let's just see here, some movie. How about, I don't know if these are TV shows or movies. I'm trying to find a movie. So you can see that the 5S up here, it did start sooner than the 4S is still loading. There, it finally came up. So those are both brand new movies out of the not out of cache. Let's go back here and try one other movie here, and we'll see which one starts up. Alright, so again, the 5S obviously started up sooner up here. The 4S wasn't too far behind it though this time, believe it or not. So that's it for the Netflix testing. Let's go ahead and clear the memory, get rid of that. Now we'll go and test we'll test another streaming app, which I don't know if everybody's familiar with. It's called Redbox Instant, and it's similar to Netflix, but they have little kiosks outside of malls and stuff, and now they actually added a streaming service. I forget how much it is a month, but you know, we can check it out and see which one will stream faster. We'll do King of New York. And see, so I'm going to hit watch now, and we'll see which one loads faster on this service, the Redbox Instant. Oh, I got to redo that test. I didn't click it. Darn it. Alright, here we go. Alright, there we go. Wow, so they actually, in the Redbox Instant, they pretty much came up at the same exact time. So, it's interesting. That's interesting. In the Netflix app, the 5S brought it up way faster, but in the Redbox Instant, the movie started streaming for both devices pretty much at the same time. Let's try one more test. We'll do TWA Flight 800. Alright, so we'll try this one more time. Alright, well, I would say that the 5S came up first, but the 4S was only, you know, 1 second behind it. So that's pretty good to know.
I thought about the TWA investigation very...
So let's tested, you know, Redbox Instant. Let's test one more app. It'll be a game this time, and we'll test. We'll test Big Buck Hunter. That one right there. So we'll see how long it takes to bring up Deer Hunter 2014 game. So as you saw, there's nothing in memory on either device. And so now we're just testing a game and see how fast they come up on each device. It looks about the same. We'll see. Okay, so the 5S actually brought the game up faster. Preparing Deer Hunter, so that's already up. The 4S is definitely bringing up the game slower than the 5S. You know, which would again, you know, it's pretty clear that the 5S hardware is way better than the 4S. You know, just to show you guys, I wanted to compare the two phones, just because for those people that are still maybe at the 4S and they're wondering if the 5S is really worth it or not. You know, you can clearly see in these tests that I would say that the 5S is definitely worth, you know, upgrading to. So let's just we'll run one more game, and this time we'll run Cloud Patrol, and we'll see, or no, we'll run, yeah, we can run Cloud Patrol. So we'll fire up that game, see which one comes up quicker. So they're both about the same. Up, the 5S is loading faster, I believe. Again, yep, the 5S is clearly came up before, you know, before the 4S. So, you know, that pretty much does it for. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to do as far as show you guys the, you know, the differences between the 5S and the 4S. And you can clearly see, you know, that the 5S definitely is a superior phone. I think that's all that I wanted to test. Oh, the last one I guess would be the speed test. That would be under utilities. So we'll run the speed test and see which, you know, which radio is better as far as the Wi-Fi, you know, chipset inside the phones. Like I said, they're both connected to the same Wi-Fi router. So we'll see here, we'll do a test and see which one you know, has the superior Wi-Fi chipset. Alright, so looking at the results here, you can see that the ping on the 5S is better than the ping on the 4S. 16 on the 5S, 21 on the 4S, and then the download speed was actually better on the 4S at 15.88 and 12.13 on the 5S. Upload speed, huge difference, and that could be maybe because the 5S started uploading first and took precedence as far as my network, you know, the packets and stuff, which one you know, got superiority or whatever. But the upload for the 4S was only 0.16, and the upload for the 5S was 2.05. So huge difference. Let's restart the test from a different server. I wonder if I can do that. This says restart, but it's going to go to the Arlington, Illinois server. Yeah, they're both, okay, they're both testing the same server. So let's just run it one more time and see what happens. So looking at the results, we got a 31 ping on the 4S and a 17 ping on the 5S. Pretty close to download though, 13.4 on the 4S and 14.2 on the 5S. But again, look at this, the significant difference in the upload speeds. And I'm not really sure why that is, but 0.75 only on the 4S and 4.53 on the 5S. So that's a huge difference. Now, I'd love to test the actual radios in the phone, but unfortunately, as you can see up here in the corner on the 4S, that the my radio is locked. My SIM is locked because obviously I don't have money to pay for to have a phone service on each device, you know, each version. So the SIM chip that was in here went into my 5S. So I can't test the radios to see which one's better as far as speed test, to see which radio, you know, is superior in each of the devices, unfortunately. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this little comparison video between the 4S and the 5S. I think it's totally worth an upgrade if you're coming from a 5S. I'm sorry, if you're coming from a 4S or lower, that it's definitely a worthwhile upgrade to get the it's definitely a worthwhile upgrade to get the 5S. I strongly suggest it. You know, if you guys are, you know, want to see more tech type videos, hit that subscribe button. I do try to get up some episodes of Tech Tuesdays with Ubu, like this one I just did here, you know, including various things, you know, maybe Xbox Media Center, maybe Linux, you know, maybe running Xbox Media Center on an old Apple TV, an original old Apple TV, maybe running Xbox Media Center on an original Xbox. You know, just a lot of type of technology type stuff that I'm into, that I can show you guys a few things here and there. But also my channel, you know, as a gaming channel, I game on Xbox 360, as well as I'm starting to game on natively within Linux on various games like Bastion, Serious Sam 3, Portal. You know, all native running. I don't run them through Wine or any emulators or anything. So, you know, hit that subscribe button if you're interested in any of that stuff. Leave a rating on the video. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and let me know down in the comments actually if you guys, you know, what if you have an iPhone and, you know, are you sticking with an older model, or did you upgrade and get the new 5S? And if you did, which version did you get? You know, as I said, I got the silver 5S, 16 gigabits in size. That's the one I got. So that's about all I got for you guys today. Hopefully you enjoyed it, as I said, and until next time, I'll smell you when I smell you. Ubu out.